Hey guys, welcome back to another Breed Legend episode here today on the channel. And today you see I have this app which I totally forgot the name of. And thanks to them, I can actually do my tier list that I meant to do so long ago. So if you enjoy this kind of video, go ahead, leave a like and subscribe for more PvZ Had Time and Snackboy because yeah, and one day I asked for 5 likes, I got like 10. So that's going to be happening. And you may see on the bottom, you see 2 foot soldiers and 2 all-stars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the characters be like what I think the character is overall. And then the little profile is what I think AI are like, because AI can be very interesting. For example, like Pirate, he could be like, really good or whatever, but the AI Pirate's so bad. Stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So we have Soldier. And I think he's pretty balanced overall. And he definitely deserves A. It's just like, there's nothing really wrong with Soldier. The only thing I guess is if there's someone being healed from a Sunfire, he doesn't really do that much damage to the target, like 1v1. Because, I mean, All-Star can do more damage. Engineer, if he hits often, he can actually take out nice chunks. But Soldier just pretty much prevents the healing. But other than that, one-on-one, he's pretty good. Some of his perks are also pretty strong too. Most reliably, he's got like ammo, he's got rapid fire, he's got rocket leap for mobility, and then you got some bad ones like sticky, where your throwing grenade is a sticky bomb. That's not really useful. But we'll get into that kind of stuff later. And so for the AI soldier, I think he's not as strong because, like, he can shoot you every once in a while, but he only shoots in like little bursts, and it doesn't really do that much damage. The Stink Cloud, he just kind of throws like on sight. He randomly rocket jumps up to a ledge, looks around, and then jumps back down. So, and the ZPG is like kind of iffy. He can like missile you right in the face if you're like jumping above him, or he could just missile nothing. So he's definitely okay, but out of the other AI, he's just not that great. Then we have the All-Star. I think the All-Star is actually better than the... Wait, where did he go? Did he go to the end? Why did he go to the end? There we go. Apparently I got to put him into the line and then actually move him. I'll take note of that. I think All-Star is a little bit better than Soldier because his, newest in quotation marks, because it's been like a year now, but his most recent buff to, I think it's tennis skills. There, that or spin class, which allows you to jump while shooting. That was one of his like biggest drawbacks because while everyone can jump and shoot in order to become more evasive, All-Star just kind of sits there. I mean, even Oak can jump around. Yeah, All-Star couldn't. So with that power, he can actually become really strong. And then spin class makes it so you can shoot almost instantly instead of having like a little rev time or whatever you want to call it. So I think if you get a bunch of all-stars with scientists, it comes like really hard to kill them because they have such high health, and then they also have their shields. And they do so much damage. I think they do like 8 damage critical. So all-star is definitely pretty good. And I will say AI of all-star is also pretty strong too. Not really reliable because he just randomly puts down shields at the very start of the game for no reason. He just kind of does that. But he does do a lot of damage if you don't take him out. Next up, we have Scientist, who I think is not really that great. And why does he disappear? I'm putting him, like you see, I'm putting him right here in C. Jeez. So, this is base Scientist, not like Steam Blaster Scientist, which I'm not going to put in here because that's technically a perk thing that we can do later. So just regular Scientist, he's okay. He's, supposed to be the healer or whatever. It's just the main thing that separates him from Sunflower is Sunflower can heal one ally really well, and the spray hose can heal a lot more allies really well. But most of the time, Sunflower is just going to have one ally. Like, the Scientist doesn't really have 2 or 3 buddies just like walking around with him. And even then, the Sunflower can attack while healing, the Scientist cannot, unless you do that weird heal shoot thing, which I don't like that. He hits average damage 2 to 3 critical. I just feel like he's definitely supposed to be used for healing rather than aggressive, unless you have Steam Blaster. And that's kind of shown here. Like, Battle Arena, you only pick him to heal people, or Steam Blaster, because if you're trying to play offensive with him, it doesn't really work out unless you have a second Scientist. Then they're okay. But I think the Scientist AI goes an S, because, well, we're going to get to this when I make the players tier list, but basically, if you're sticking with this Scientist, he will not let you die. If you're being attacked by anyone, he's gonna automatically like just focus on healing you. So instead of having someone try to heal you and have to rely on them, why not just have the game do that for you, you know? And then next up we have the Engineer, which I also think, I mean, he's okay. He's a little bit better than the Scientist, but it kind of depends, because I feel like ever since he came out, I never got used to his whole shot mechanic. It just goes bouncing around and all that kind of stuff. It's really hard to hit consistent shots unless they're close range. I mean, the turret's pretty good, and you can get some nice perk upgrades, but just saying standard Engineer, no upgrades, he's okay. If you're like first starting playing the game and pick Engineer, then you're not going to hit anything, because it's just like small marbles. You're shooting small marbles. That's basically what you're doing. While the Engineer AI guarantees those hitting you. Like, the Engineer AI probably has to be like the best AI, because if you're getting hit by anything, getting hit by Engineers like what, 34, 32 damage repeatedly with his turn and stun, he's definitely a menace. And most of your deaths, if there is one, is probably going to be from him. And all this data has been from me playing the game on like PlayStation and on Switch against other AI. Sometimes I just like make a private lobby, put in all the AI, and I just kind of like stand back and see how they do like in a Team Vanquish or something. Engineer's definitely like one of the top performers. Then we have Deadbeard. And this is kind of interesting because Deadbeard is really good in turf. I don't really play turf, like, at all. So I'll just put him there, I guess. Because, like, outside turf, you rarely see, like, a pirate or a cactus. Like, you may on, I think it's Rocky Flats or something like that, with the really big bridge and cheese and stuff like that. But I mean, you don't go to like Rooney Ruins and see pirates. If so, it's probably in like a little cave or whatever. So he's like okay. I feel like the barrel can be kind of situational, because you can't kill people with 150. That does do a lot. However, if they see you and you use the barrel, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna get destroyed. Because I think the only character that actually can't, like, burst you down is Nightcap, and that's if she doesn't use Feng Fu, or maybe Rose. But other than that, even Sunflower, she can, like, destroy the barrel before you get to her. That's, like, if you go in it and instantly, like, trying to blow up. Or they could just run away if you don't have speedy barrels, so, like, that's another thing. I will say I do like his anchor, so you can actually get up to sniping spots. But just outside of turf, there's not a whole lot of sniping spots where you're not like kind of exposed or whatever. Because I'm thinking on Daisy Drive, it's somewhat open. You can go up on like a house and snipe or whatever. But the houses are kind of like in the middle. You kind of like obvious right there or whatever. And then the AI is completely useless. He doesn't really snipe. He like zooms in and he shoots like the little wake shots. But then for some reason, if you walk up to him, he destroys you with his shotgun, which should be opposite. He has the foot soldier syndrome, which means he uses the anchor to go up and then looks around and then jumps back down. He occasionally uses the parrot, which is kind of weird. It's like sometimes he does, but most of the time he actually doesn't. It's very inconsistent. In the barrel, if you go over an edge, he's just going to cancel out the barrel just to jump down. I don't know, it's just Pirate's he's really, really bad. Like, you don't want to have a pirate on your team, and you want their team to have a pirate. So then we come up to Imp, and I think Imp is actually underrated. Let's just move, like that. So Imp is definitely like a double-edged sword. He's really good against like players because you can put on a lot of pressure being like small and stuff. And then your Z-Mech, you're really strong. But if you're against AI, Imp's probably like one of the worst things because they just kill you so quickly. I remember one time I was in Weirding Woods and I see a P-shirt AI in Gatling. So I throw my Gatling grenade, but for some reason he was still in Gatling and I died in like half a second. Like stuff like that. But then, just like the other day, I went on a 24 player kill streak and I didn't get killed at all. I was just alive the entire time. So Imp's definitely one of the stronger ones, and I think his AI is also pretty good too. Because, I mean, look at this thing. He can just start shooting you from wherever. He's, just like with Engineer, he's definitely one of the top performers. I mean, he took me down when I was a Snapdragon because he came from behind me and I was trying to find him. So, I mean, either that or I'm just bad with Dragon. But Imp's definitely one of the better characters. I wouldn't say as good as Soldier though, so let's move him over here. Yeah, I think that looks right. Then we have Superhero, Super Brain. We're going to put you... Yeah, I think you're gonna be... Remember, this is just regular Super Brains, no Brainium Bonk Basher, whatever you want to call it. So, Superhero, he's okay, I guess. He is better than Engineer and Pirate and Scientist, of course. But the main thing is, just like with the AI, which I'll put here, most of the time they just use the jump and then the spin. Because other than that, the punches, they don't really feel consistent. For some reason, it's like you're following someone and you're punching them. You see the numbers, but only like one or two of them is actually punching them. And for me specifically, when I'm using I think it's called the Ultra Combo, where you get a fourth punch, sometimes you don't even get the fourth punch, you just punch 3 times still. And you're like, what the heck? I'm using the perk in order to actually get 4 punches, and you only get 3. I do like he's now got a ranged option with the Flying Fist. I mean, no one really uses it, or if they do, not a lot of people are using it. And his shield is kind of weak. Not compared to Citron's shield, because that's just something completely different, but his shield's like 250 or something like that. It's very fragile. And if there's a beam bomb, it doesn't even protect you, it just blows you up anyways. Had that happen many a time. Then we have the Space Cadet, who I think is also kind of okay. It's basically a downgraded soldier. You hit a little bit less damage. You do get some homing though, which is somewhat noticeable. Your laser beam does like 100 damage for some reason. Like Soldier can do 175 with rockets. Space Cadet do 100 if it's a headshot. I feel like the laser is really hard to hit too. And then you have your the gravity smash, where you fly up in the air and try to smash people. I don't know, it's just me. I barely use that to actually get kills. Because when you go up, the camera is just so awkward. And plus, most of the time, they're just going to run away. A few times they'll actually go up to like look up and shoot you. I don't know, it's just really awkward to aim. Space Station is pretty good though. And then if you get, all 4 people on it, that's actually pretty good. And now, thinking about that, let's move you to here. Let's do that. Yeah, there we go. Makes you a little bit better than engineer because of Space Station. So, I wouldn't say just use Space Station by itself, because I feel like with Space Station and Oak is better by himself, but Space Station is better when you have more people. Because with the Oak and the Imp, the Acorns on top, you can just shoot an Imp hunt with All-Star and you kill the Acorns on top. You can't really do it with the Space Station when it has like 700 health with shields. So like, there's that. AI is mediocre. It kind of shoots inconsistent like Soldier does. The laser doesn't really hit you. The gravity flip thing, it will hit you because they have aimbot, of course. So you just gotta watch out for that. However, they don't ever turn to a space station. And if you are the space station, you get a space cadet on you, then they're still not even really that great. Because, again, they shoot inconsistently. They don't put up the shield all the time. So it's like, even though their shield refresh is good or whatever, they only really use it. Basically, it's just a downgrade soldier, and that's how I think. Next up, we have the electric slide. Electric slide is pretty good. Definitely a little bit underrated. Because the whole chain lightning, and specifically for PlayStation members, when they got F1 the game for free, F1 was like grouping up the whole power numbers kind of thing, and Slide takes full advantage of that. So, I mean, other than that, she's not really seen often, which I don't know why, because I think she's, really strong with the whole electricity thing and stuff like that. It is really weird, like when you try to shoot long range, and your little, like, lightning beams are just kind of shooting up and down. It's just a little bizarre to aim. But other than that, she's pretty solid, like, mid to close range. So, that would make sense why the AI is also pretty good. Definitely not as good as the All-Star AI, but, she can rack up the kills and throw your magnets or whatever. I mean, if you hit her like twice, she goes straight to the electric form thing, so, I mean, that's a little annoying. But then she doesn't really do anything else besides just cause pressure, which is pretty good, actually. Then we have the Aeds. Aeds will be put in B, right by Space Cadet. Because new players, don't know how to use them. I didn't really know when I first used them, so that's fair. Because people just spam the ordinary shot, and then abilities. That's basically what Aeds was. But then, when you actually start learning Aeds, he's actually pretty good. And, with your fast reload or whatever after getting a kill, that can kind of snowball to something really good. But again, base 80, just like with everyone else, just normal, no upgrades or whatever, he's okay. Definitely new players rely on the rocket ride, but that's kind of easily avoidable. But he's just okay, not really much to add to him. The AI is not really that great either. You can get killed by him, of course, because he just uses rocket ride. But now since they added the feature where you can use your dynamite roll, dynamite dodge, whatever it's called, to get out of rocket ride, most of the time the AI shoot like 5 rockets at you and then immediately just roll dodge or whatever, so you don't get the full blast of it, so that definitely made him a little bit worse. He rarely hits you with a fully charged blast, instead would probably just peck you down with just the regular shots. But both have 150 health, so that's like, decent. And now we got the two new characters, the Wizard and the TV Head. The Wizard is not great, I would say. His main projectile is super skinny. Like, you can barely tell if you're going to hit something. It's like you got your little shooting reticle thing. It's like the dot in the middle. That's like all you get. His charge is really weird with the whole orb. Like, it's unique and all. It's not really useful. It takes up 4 ammo. And the only thing that really actually makes him good, because I would put him in like D or whatever, is the ability to join forces with someone. But you gotta be kind of smart about it, because you have to then rely on this person. If it's like some random person, then you have to first of all see if there's like another high rank person, because then you can hop on them. But there's like a bunch of low ranks. You don't want to jump onto like an engineer or something like that. And plus, you don't know what they're gonna do. If you got someone like high rank, then you know, okay, we got a plan or whatever. Low ranks, they could just be like, wandering around or whatever. And then you can also go on AI, but again, they're very unpredictable. They could just be walking around in random directions or whatever. So, it's not great. Which also makes a wizard probably one of the worst AI in existence. He barely hits you. For some reason, 90% of the time he just wants you to shoot this charged orb, which, that's good for plants, not good for zombies. And the one good thing about the wizard, about jumping on people, he doesn't even really do. He just throws a potion, uses staff if you're close. So, he's not great. He's probably a little bit better than Deadbeard, because Deadbeard just can't kill unless you're close. But then Wizard can't kill you if he's close either. You know what? Yeah, I'll just put that back. And then that brings us to the final character, TV Head, who I think is one of the strongest zombies in the game. Of course, everyone's gonna have their own opinion, but I really like TV Head. I feel like if anything's going bad, I just turn the TV Head and everything's just going all smooth. You got your thrown projectile to do 75, which is good against people who are reviving, because they're standing still. You can get a for sure hit. It's also a thing to kill nightcaps after Fung Fu. You can like jump away, turn around, and when they're done, you just go whoop and just throw that. You got a smack attack, where if you click the right movement stick or whatever it is on PC, I don't have a clue. You can punch for 50, which is harder than a superhero. It's a good finishing off move kind of thing, just in case you're about to die, or just a good chip. You can also throw your projectile after a punch, and that's a 125, so like that's pretty good. But of course, the Yeti is really strong, where you can control a little imp Yeti, and if you got the speed upgrade, it just makes it way too strong. And you hit for 110, which is a huge amount of health on a lot of characters, and kills definitely a smaller cast. Basically, if most characters are injured, this can finish them off. And you can use the thrown projectile and the imp to do damage to a burrowed chomper. Like when he tries to come up and eat you, you can use one of those to help. The only downside to him is that for some reason, he doesn't jump far, he doesn't run fast or something. Because there are some platforms I can just like run and jump and he's just up there. But TV Head, he's just kind of slow. But on top of everything else I've said, if you have other TV AI or players, you just get more defense so you stay alive longer. So that's just like an added bonus on something that's already kind of strong. But then the AI He's there, I guess. Because his thrown projectile most of the time will hit you for a guaranteed 75. He hits decently hard. However, he doesn't really use the Yeti, which is one of the biggest things. And then you as a player, you have your own respawn point or whatever. They don't really, do that. And so, with that, in 25 minutes, here is what I think is the tier list. Of course, most people think I'm wrong, so, that's the whole point of the tier list, right? It's not to say that this is what I think should be correct, bow down or whatever. We're all allowed to have our opinions. So here's my opinion. TV Head's the best, Scientist Regular is the worst. So if you enjoyed this kind of video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe for more, because we're going to be doing a lot of tier lists now, since of this, the M app or whatever this is called. And so with that, I'll see you all next time.